Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Professor Renata Uitz and Professor Federico Fabbrini for invitation to this important seminar on the future of Europe in the context of rule of law, resilience and economic governance. I cannot be with you because right now today I have an event which is to a certain extent corresponding with the topic of the seminar. It is the high-level seminar on justice for growth, which I co-chair together with Commissioner Michael McGrath within my responsibilities as the Polish presidency in the Council of the European Union. But I would like to share with you some of my thoughts concerning where are we now and where are we going as Europe, as some specific member states that had problems that are trying to overcome those problems. I think that it is quite obvious to say that Poland should take care about supporting stronger Europe. In the context of the crisis in the United States-European Union relations, in the context of the war in Ukraine, I think there is no doubt that Europe must take care of itself and that European Union must do whatever it is possible in order to become stronger, by all means. For Poland, it means that we have to rebuild our rule of law structure, taking into account the crisis we had between 2015 and 2023 when the Law and Justice Party was governing Poland. But at the same time, we have to take care about sending the signal to the whole European Union, to all other EU member states, that that kind of resilience is possible, and moreover that there is a possibility of transition from a liberal regime to a democratic country with the use of traditional rule of law mechanisms and techniques. That is one of my major responsibilities these days. But we shouldn't forget that this example of Poland is not just for us, but it is for the whole European Union to indicate that mechanisms that have been created in the European Union are important, that they could be used as a mechanism of enforcement. And I mean here especially such mechanisms as rule of law report, conditionality mechanism, or infringement actions brought by the European Commission. And I should add obviously the activism of the civil society as well as judges that are making preliminary references to the Court of Justice of the EU. This whole toolbox of mechanisms proved to be effective in the context of Poland, and right now case law of the Court of Justice of the EU as well as of the European Court of Human Rights is important lighthouse for us in transforming our state. But I would like to underline, it is not about Poland, it is about making Poland strong enough to contribute to the future of European integration, but also to create a bridge with cooperation with such countries like the United Kingdom, but also with some other countries that are interested in supporting the defense policy of the European Union. When we are thinking about rule of law and economic governance, we shouldn't forget that illiberal regimes tend to overtake some of the state resources, state-owned companies, in order to use them for political purposes. We had example of this, money from state-owned companies or foundations controlled by state-owned companies who have been used, has been used in order to achieve certain political purposes. Moreover, we could see that this equality of participation in the market has been put under the question because of this connection between imperium and dominion. There is one author from Poland, my dear friend, Professor Maciej Bernat, who is describing how the rule of law problems contribute negatively to the situation of economic governance and to the conditions of equality between different partners acting in the single market. So I think we should identify those threats, and at the same time we should increase the importance of EU instruments in order to fight against that kind of a threat. It also applies to the situation of public media vis-à-vis private media, and here the European Media Freedom Act is important instrument. But I think that when we are thinking about today's challenges, we should answer ourselves a question, okay, what Europe may do in order to convince citizens that we are simply a good continent to live our lives. How to convince citizens that the European way of life and the European citizenship is a value to all of us in a situation of this democratic threat coming from different directions, including the proliferation of the use of social media or including some threats connected with the hybrid war. And that is why during the presidency, Prime Minister Donald Tusk has said that our priority is security. Security of citizens, but also security in general. That is why we spend so much time on issues such as defense policy, such as creating mutual good cooperation between European partners, and we see a number of initiatives concerning this supported by the European Commission. But also, we should answer ourselves a question how we could tackle with those existing problems, such as migration or the use of social media. With migration, I would like to remind about the communication of the European Commission from 11th December 2024, in which the Commission has identified that there is a threat of so-called weaponization of migrants in the context of the hybrid war. And it is a real daily threat for Poland, Baltic states, as well as Finland, not mentioning other countries that are facing migration that is used for the political purposes. But when it comes to social media, on the one hand, we have Digital Services Act, but on the other hand, we see influence of different social media platforms on elections in different EU countries. And that's why the European Democracy Shield is an important element. But in my opinion, the European Democracy Shield should not concentrate just on the question of the threats coming from social media and the vulnerability of the electoral process, but we should take a great care about analyzing the role of the civil society in supporting rule of law and democracy in different member states. And here, Polish example is a good case because my feeling is that thanks to the Polish civil society, we could have victorious elections in October 2023, and that is why we could defend successfully our principles of judicial independence as well as rule of law. So in my opinion, the support for the civil society should be at the core of investment into the European citizenship, into values enshrined in Article 2 of the Treaty on European Union. I think that, to conclude, we have a lot of problems to overcome, but I hope that thanks to unity, thanks to cooperation, and thanks to deep understanding of the problem in which we are all, will be able to tackle those problems and create a better future for European Union citizens. Thank you very much for your attention.